Hello everybody, this is your English teacher and this is the second part of my lesson on the Tudors. Okay, let's see where we have gotten. Right. Okay, we have said that the first king of the Tudor dynasty was Henry VII, who ruled over the kingdom from 1485 to 1509. Okay, let's have a look to what happens then. We have a new king. Oh, what a nice guy. Ah, that's handsome, isn't he? Okay, of course, this is not an ancient portrait. This is a photograph taken from a TV series called The Tudors, starring Jonathan Rhys, who played the part of this king, Henry VIII, a very important and big man who ruled over the country from 1509 to 1547. Let's have a look at some information about him. So, he was Henry VII's second son. Do you remember? Henry VII's first son was Arthur, who had died in on a mysterious occasion. We don't know why he died and how he died. He was a natural sportsman. He was very keen on sport and very popular at his time, both with the English elite and the English public. So everybody knew about Henry VIII, this young man who was so sportive, okay, and so good-looking. He was called the Golden Prince, both because of his natural good looks and also because of his chivalry and education. And when I say education, I refer to the fact that an educated man like him, like king in this period, of course knew English, which was his own language, but he knew French, he knew Latin, which was the language of books, of important books. He knew some theology, some philosophy, some science, okay, so he had a very good education. He was granted the title, so he was recognized the title of Defender of the Faith. And when we say faith, we mean the Catholic faith. Catholicism was the only possible religion at that time in Europe, okay? We had no other religions. Not yet, at least, but Martin Luther is he's arriving with Protestantism. But to this time, Henry VIII was a pure Catholic, 100%, so much that he wrote a book in which he defended the Catholic sacraments, okay? And so he was recognized this title from the Pope himself in 1521. Oh yeah, he has changed a lot. Okay, this is an authentic portrait of the king who got bigger, fatter in time. Why was he so fat? Because he loved eating, guys, especially meat, lots of meat and cakes. So he got overweighted and he had problems, health problems. He got 2 types of disease, what is now called the gout, which is linked to an unhealthy diet, and also diabetes. And these were some of the reasons why then he died, okay? So he had not a very good health towards his middle age, okay? Let's have a look at some information about him, which are quite interesting. He married Catherine of Aragon. Yes, Catherine, the wife of his dead brother. And this Catherine of Aragon bore him a daughter, Mary. Usually, at that time, women didn't become queens easily. So, for all of his life, Henry searched for a baby boy. He wanted to have a male son, okay? Because he wanted somebody to take his place on the throne. He asked the Pope to divorce from Catherine. Why? Because he had fallen in love with a girl who lived in his court. And this girl is quite famous. Her name was Anne Boleyn, who was pregnant. Okay, so they had a relationship, a hidden relationship. Well, hidden. It was very difficult to hide something in a court. So everybody knew about the fact that the queen had a secret relationship with Anne Boleyn. But the Pope didn't give permission to divorce because divorce is not permitted in Catholicism. And so what did he do? Oh, he just broke any kind of relationship with the Pope, and he declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England. So he built his own religion, okay? Actually, he took Protestantism, chose Protestantism as the official religion of the monarchy, of English monarchy, and he appointed himself as the supreme head of the Church of England. And this was made through the Act of Supremacy, 1534. Please remember this year, this date. I'm going to ask it to you. And this brought to what we call the Western, it's a strange name, schism. I have written down the pronunciation of this now for you, okay? Schism. And so England divided, got free from the influence of the Pope. It was not only because Henry didn't get the divorce from the Pope, but especially because he wanted to be free. He wanted to be subdued to the Pope, because the Pope was the most powerful politician in the continent, okay? So he wanted to be free. So he took the occasion. So what did he do? He dissolved the monasteries. You remember the monasteries were very rich places. They had libraries, they had gold, they had education, culture. They had lots of goods and money. And so, with the dissolution of Catholicism, he dissolved the monasteries. How did he do that? Just decided that all the monasteries belonged to the king. So he sent all the monks away. He kept the monasteries and all their wealth for him, and he gave these monasteries and some riches to the most faithful noblemen. And so we have a new kind of nobleman, which will be called gentry, the gentleman of the countryside, gentry, okay? A new type of nobleman that he created, that he appointed. And lots of these monasteries became palaces or mansions or castles that he gave to his friends. The strange thing about his king that he had 6 wives, yes, 6 wives, and 2 of them were sentenced to death, were executed, were killed according to the law, were beheaded. This means that they got their heads cut off their body. Why did the king do that? Because he wanted to change sometimes. He got bored of his wives. And so some of them died for natural reasons, but some of them were executed. And they were accused of witchcraft, so for being witch, or they were accused of having betrayed, of having been unfaithful to the king. And so, the king can do anything he wants. And he decided to send these 2 women to death, okay? From this moment on, from the Act of Supremacy, Ireland will start to give some problems to the United Kingdom, because Ireland will remain a Catholic country, while the rest of the kingdom will be Protestant. Now, remember, in this period, we don't have the Republic of Ireland. Ireland is fully a part of the United Kingdom, and so it will be a very big problem to have a part of the kingdom which doesn't recognize Protestantism and the king as the supreme head of the church. Irish people will go on believing in the Pope as the supreme head, okay, of their religion, which is the Catholic religion. And so, yes, this is the beginning of the so-called Irish question, which will go on and on and on for centuries, until the 20th centuries. Yes, 20th century. Okay, what happens after the Henry VIII? We have a new king. Oh, a boy, yes, because he succeeded in having a boy. And this boy was Edward. He was the son of Jane Seymour, who was Henry VIII's 3rd wife. This young lady died because of the consequences of giving birth to this boy. It was very usual for a woman to die while giving birth to a son, to a baby, because you know medicine at that time was quite different from today's medicine. So girls, we are lucky, you are lucky to have been born in this century, because it's easier to take care of yourself and to not to have problems in giving life to a baby. Okay, she died. What did he do? Well, we remember him because he made the Protestant doctrine more fully accepted. Yes, because the situation was a strange one. The country, all the kingdom, was split in two. A part of the people followed the king and were Protestant, but the other part were still Catholic, not only in Ireland, but also in Great Britain. So the problem for a king, and also for this king, was to keep the nation united, even if there were problems in religion. Okay? And so he made the Protestant doctrine more fully accepted by more and more people. He used some of the confiscated wealth of convents to build schools, so he improved education for children in England. So that was a good thing to do. And he replaced the old Latin used for religious books with English by publishing the Common Prayer of Book in English. Okay, it was a book in which there were all the prayers, the Christian prayers, but they're not written in Latin anymore. They are written in English, so this means that anybody can read and understand this book, which was a very good thing. Unfortunately for Edward, he had a very short life. He was born in 1537, went to the throne when he was just 10 years old. Of course, there were some counselors who ruled for him, and he died when he was only 16. Okay, so he was your age. What happens then? We have not a queen, not a king, but we have a queen. This one. Who is this one? Mary. Mary the First was a daughter, the daughter of Henry VIII, the big one, you remember? Yes, because he had this daughter from his first wife, the Spanish one. So imagine, she was a Catholic. Now, Henry VIII was a Protestant. His son Edward was a Protestant, and now again a Catholic queen. You can imagine that all the people in the United Kingdom were quite confused. Which was the right religion to follow? The Protestant or the Catholic? Oh, what a confusion. So, she was the daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, and she was brought up by her mom, who was a Catholic, 100%. Remember, she was Spanish. She refused to abandon the Catholic faith. She tried to restore England to papal obedience, so she tried to take England back to Catholicism. So you see, that was a huge problem, because people could not understand all of these changes, which were quite sudden, quick. She married a Catholic prince, Philip of Spain, so Catholic plus Catholic. And so she decided to send to the fire to burn 274 Protestants, and this earned her the surname of Bloody Mary. Yes, I know it's also the name of a cocktail, but it comes from from this queen, Bloody Mary, because she was quite cruel, quite decided into getting rid of all the Protestants that tried to block her, to fight her, okay? And this, of course, didn't help her to be accepted by the majority of people in England, okay? So she was not quite a quite loved queen. Then she died because of an illness, and we'll see what is going to happen next, okay? So see you later.